All right, so let's start with the big story that we're tracking on WION at this hour. So today marks exactly 20 years since the 9/11 terror attacks. And this, remember, is an incident that continues to haunt Americans and indeed the rest of the world. Now, ahead of the 20th anniversary, the American President Joe Biden paid tributes to the victims of the 9/11 terror attacks. Now, Biden said that unity is America's greatest strength. Listen in to what the American president had to say more.
To the families of the 2,977 people from more than 90 nations killed on September 11th, 2001 in New York City, Arlington, Virginia, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and the 1,000 more who were injured. America and the world commemorate you and your loved ones, the pieces of your soul. We honor all those who risked and gave their lives in the minutes, hours, months, and years afterwards. The firefighters, police officers, EMTs and construction workers, and doctors and nurses, faith leaders, service members, veterans, and all of the everyday people who gave their all to rescue, recover, and rebuild.
Now, nearly about 3,000 people, remember, had been killed, including more than 2,600 at the World Trade Center in New York alone, after 19 hijackers had managed to seize control of the commercial airplanes that they were traveling in and then used them to attack the World Trade Center's Twin Towers and also the Pentagon just outside of Washington.
The days that followed September 11th, 2001, we saw heroism everywhere, in places expected and unexpected. We also saw something all too rare, a true sense of national unity. Unity and resilience, the capacity to recover and repair in the face of trauma. Unity and service, the 9/11 generation stepping up to serve and protect in the face of terror, to get those terrorists who were responsible, to show everyone seeking to do harm to America that we will hunt you down and we will make you pay. And that will never stop. Today, tomorrow, ever, from protecting America.
Now, Biden has vowed to, in fact, keep hunting down terrorists who pose a threat to U.S. security. The American president also acknowledged and condemned the sharp rise in violence against Muslim Americans in the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks. The U.S. president is, in fact, scheduled to visit the three sites marking the anniversary of the nation's worst terror attack. The first stop will, of course, be in New York City, where the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center were hit and toppled. Second will be a field in Pennsylvania, where a plane fell from the sky after some passengers decided to fight the terrorists to prevent the plane from reaching Washington. The third and the final location visited by President Biden will be the Pentagon, where the U.S. military suffered a bit of a blow to its office. The 20th anniversary of 9/11 terror attacks comes little more than 2 weeks after a suicide bomber in Kabul had killed about 13 American service members, besides nearly about 200 Afghan nationals at the Kabul International Airport. Now, ahead of the 20th anniversary, the United States also concluded its military mission in Afghanistan. Now, this year's 9/11 anniversary is, of course, extremely pertinent, while the Biden administration has, in fact, ended the longest-running American war through its withdrawal. Now, this is being described as very hasty, and the way it happened as extremely embarrassing for the Americans. And what is interesting is that exactly 20 years after the 9/11 attacks, the Taliban is now back in power. In fact, the Americans negotiated with the Taliban and virtually have brought them back to power. And it is expected to weigh very heavily on Pentagon's shoulders and is a cause of some serious concerns for governments around the world. And our correspondent Susan Tehrani, in fact, has been tracking the story very closely for us and has sent us this report. Take a look.
Preparations are currently underway here at the 9/11 Memorial and Museum for the event, which is scheduled to take place Saturday morning, commemorating the victims of 9/11. U.S. President Joe Biden is expected to attend the event, which will be smaller than usual due to COVID restrictions, consisting only of the family members of 9/11 victims. Names will be read out and 6 minutes of silence will be observed. However, today, large crowds gathered to pay their respect here at the memorial and museum as the country and the world grapples with more questions than answers 2 decades after the war on terror began. Susan Tehrani from New York for WION, World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.